Okay, this is a video about Python in TouchDesigner, specifically what makes Python in TouchDesigner different than just Python, and also how you can install external modules or packages or libraries, whatever you want to call them, into TouchDesigner. So the first thing I'm going to say is you should probably be using the 2025 version of TouchDesigner by now, but if you want to follow along with this, make sure that's the one you're using. I'm going to go to the Help menu and choose Python Help. So this just launches a browser, and this is kind of the intro to Python. But I'm going to jump specifically to the list of Python classes and modules. This is what makes Python in TouchDesigner different than just Python. And I will say the Python that's within TouchDesigner has very little to do, or maybe nothing to do, with any Python that's installed on your computer. It's all packaged up inside Python. So what's the difference? I mean, it does more than just Python stuff. One thing it does is it includes a bunch of classes. And these are, this list here is all of the classes related to operators. You can do anything with any operator through Python, and this is how you access it. So the way that you'd find that out is, let's say we're adding a gesture chop. If we want to know more about it, we can just click the question mark. But if you want to know about Python help, you can click that icon next to it. And what you'll see is this is literally just the documentation for the gesture chop class. All of the modules here have documentation, and you can see they're kind of some of them are children of other modules, right? So we've got the operator class as the top level, and then we've got all the different families: chop, comp, dat, whatever. For example, if we look at the dat class, what you'll see is that there are members and methods. That's the important part. And then I think for the op class, it's basically showing you all the things that it inherits as well. So it inherits a bunch of members and methods. Members are kind of like variables. They're information about the operator you're dealing with. And then the methods are things that you can do with that operator. So we can see that, we can find out, is it text? It's a Boolean. We read this member and say, is this this particular dat text or not? Methods is there are a bunch of different methods, and even in the documentation it gives you specific things, like if you want to modify text or if you want to access a single cell of a table. You find all of that information, how to do it with Python in the class documentation. Okay, so there are also some other classes that aren't about operators, but they're included with TouchDesigner, and this is again what makes Python in TouchDesigner Python instead of just Python. These are not things that are specific to Python. So for example, abs time. We've got an abs time module, and we've got this thing called frame, or you can use seconds. You've used this before, right? You just plop this in and it gives you, for example, how many frames have passed since you opened this TouchDesigner project. So these are things that obviously wouldn't just make sense to someone using Python to make a website or something. So these are all specific to TouchDesigner. TTU is interesting because it's just generic utilities. They're not specific to TouchDesigner, but they're things that would be useful to anyone who is doing TouchDesigner stuff. So there are some standard Python modules that are just part of Python, and normally you have to import them if you want to use them. So if you wanted to call this cosine method from the math module, and also include, by the way, math.py as the argument, if you want to do any of this stuff, before you start doing this in Python, you'd have to import the math module. What TouchDesigner has done is it's automatically imported all of these different standard Python modules because they're just so useful. And it would be crazy if you wanted to type this into a parameter to also have to import it beforehand. So these are installed just because they're part of Python, but they're also automatically imported. So you can just use these things without doing anything special. There are some other utility modules that are useful for TouchDesigner. It's worth looking in there, things about JSON and whatever. Then there are finally third-party packages. So these are packages that are not a part of TouchDesigner. They're not, they are not a part of Python. So if you wanted to use this in a Python project, you'd have to not only import it in your code, you'd have to install it first. And what TouchDesigner has done is, in its version of Python, it has installed all of these packages, but it has not automatically imported them because they're so specific. If you want to do cryptography stuff, or you want to do things with computer vision, you'd have to actually import in your code the OpenCV, or it's actually called CV2 here. you'd have to import that module before you could use it. And it's literally this command, right? There's this bit of code, import, and the name of the module. So again, this is installed in the TouchDesigner version of Python, but you can't just use these the methods that these things provide without actually importing them first. So there is some information about that if you want to look around in here. But what I want to show you is how do you install something that's not even on this list? Something that is neither imported automatically nor is even installed with TouchDesigner, like we find something on the internet. So there's this repo called Awesome Python. If you look in here, there's all these different categories. Maybe you're interested in natural language processing. So you find that section in here. I thought I saw that. I don't know where it is. It's in here somewhere. There's a category for cryptography, for example, and you jump down and it shows you all these different modules that are really helpful for that. So there's hundreds of modules that you could download here. Most of them are not automatically installed by TouchDesigner. So one that I found that's really pretty simple, it's a good example because it's so simple. It's called Humanize. You can just use it to maybe feed it a number and get a human readable version of that number back, or with time, right? You could say, what is it? What's the natural language version of 1,001 seconds from now? And it'll tell you it's 16 minutes. So it's pretty handy and something that we probably could take advantage of in TouchDesigner. So let's see how to install it. If you're just using Python, well, obviously this page knows nothing about TouchDesigner. This is probably how you would install it. I'm used to, again, I'm not a Python person, but my understanding is just pip install humanize would do it. So let's go with that. And the first thing we'd want to do is just give this a try just to see how it fails, right? So here's a bit of Python that uses this module, and it uses a method called int_word. Let's just see if we can make that work in TouchDesigner. I expect it to fail, but I want to see this anyway. So I'm going to use a text dat here, and I'll just change this to Python so that it gives me the nice syntax highlighting. And I will just paste that code here. And obviously this just returns a string. So actually I'd probably want to print this. So I'm going to print whatever that returns, or maybe it'll be a little nicer here. I'll say text equals whatever that method returns. It's a string. And then I'm going to print text. This all looks nice. So I'm going to make that viewer active turned off. And then I will just do Control R. And I've got an error. So let's open the TextDat and see, or sorry, the textport and see what the error was. Humanize is not found. Name humanize is not found. So it really has no idea what I mean by humanize. Okay, well, let's go one step further. If we look in the documentation, it says, oh, you need to import this before you can use it. That sounds like what I was describing earlier. This is not something that's imported automatically in TouchDesigner. So let's try importing it, and then I will Control R. It says no module named humanize. So now at least it knows I'm talking about a module, but there is no module called humanize installed. So clearly we're going to have to install this module into our Python in TouchDesigner. So let's make that happen. The thing to do is in TouchDesigner 2025, we can open the palette, go down to Tools, and scroll down near the bottom. We've got TDPYENV Manager. I don't know how people pronounce this in the Python world, but I think it's just VEnv. You've got this idea of virtual environments with Python. So a good example is, let's say we have a project that we've written outside of TouchDesigner, just a Python project that uses Humanize, and it uses the 1.0 version of this Humanize package. Well, okay, that works fine. I've installed the 1.0 version and it works. Now I've got another project, and this particular project, for whatever reason, requires the 2.0 version of Humanize. So, hey, I'll just upgrade Humanize, and now I've got 2.0. But now my 1.01 is broken. So you've got this situation pretty often in things like Python, where you've got different versions of modules that are required. Your project requires a specific version. Maybe it even requires a specific version of Python, and a different project requires another version of Python. So, this is like kind of a headache, and why I've kind of avoided Python all my life. I feel like this is something that's a lot neater in other languages, but they've come up with a decent solution, which is to create, every time you want to make a project, its own virtual environment. It has its own version of Python, its own keeps track of its own versions of libraries. And that's what this component from the palette in TouchDesigner 2025 allows us to do. So before we can use this component though, we do have to make a project folder. So let's go to File, Create Project Folder. I have a folder called YouTube on my desktop, and I'm just going to call this like Humanizer. That's the name of my project. I don't think I'm going to have any audio or movies or images or anything else in my project. So I just want it to create essentially a folder that contains my TOE file. It's renamed it to be the same name as the folder, and it's made a folder, specifically for this project. So now I can click on this component and choose Create VM. The reason why that's important is, this takes like 20 seconds or so, but what we'll see is as it's doing it, it creates a .vm folder in this project folder that we're sitting in. So that's why we needed to make a project folder first, because it creates a couple other things and we want them to be paired with our TOE file. So now it's done. It says it's ready to go. And the last thing I'll need to do is click down here under Open CLI. And this is where I can install the Humanize package. So I'm just going to do the short version that I know, pip install Humanize. This will go out to the internet and find a package called Humanize and install it. That's it. It's already done. I'm going to hit close here. And now I think when I refresh this, Control R, let's see, it still says there's something wrong. Let's go to Textport and Control R. Oh, no, it's working. I don't know why there's an X here. This is kind of a thing with TouchDesigner. It often, those X's linger and then I might see a warning. I don't know. There's really nothing wrong with what I'm doing here. So I'm not sure why it's complaining, but we can see that this number is about 123.5 million. So that's what this, this package allows us to do. So hopefully that makes sense. I've kind of explained how TouchDesigner Python is different than just Python, what it adds to do it. It's not magic. It's just adding a bunch of classes and a bunch of kind of pre-installing and importing a lot of modules that are useful in TouchDesigner, and that's how it's adapted Python to TouchDesigner use. The last thing is just I showed how you can use this new component here to very neatly and like in a way that's manageable, keep track of any external libraries that you want to install. So this won't affect anything else. One last thing I'll mention is if you go here and choose export requirements.txt, when I hit pulse, if I look back at this folder, you'll see there's a file now called requirements.txt, and it contains the libraries that I installed, their version, even version of pip, and I don't know what setup tools is, but it keeps track of all the versions that are used in this virtual environment. So you could actually recreate that if you had that file exported before, you could do that again. I'm not sure why you would need to do this, but I think if you were on a different computer or you sent this to someone, they may need to have that requirements. It definitely doesn't hurt to export it and have it sitting there in the project folder. It's just more information about your project. So hopefully that makes sense. Take care.